So, in this video, where my channel name is Critters and Creations and you've only seen critters so far, this is going to be the first of my creations part. If you see behind me here, there are some huge pieces of polystyrene that I got from my new TV, and I thought I'm going to put them to good use, and I'm going to be doing some decor for my Egyptian Predatory Beetle enclosure. So it's going to go with a theme. I have not really done much stuff like this before, but hopefully it will all work out. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I know it's definitely going to be good fun. I love doing stuff like this anyway. So yeah, hope you enjoy it, and let me know what you think of it in the comments once you've watched the video. Thank you very much. I'll see you at the end. Bye. The things I'm going to be using today are some styrofoam or polystyrene pieces. I got these from my new TV that came because my old one broke, so I thought I'd reuse the polystyrene that was left over. I've already pre-cut it down into small sheets so I can do what I need to with it. I've also got a range of cutting tools, some scalpels there, a kitchen knife. I'm going to be using a hot glue gun. This is only a small cheap one from, in the UK we have a shop called Poundland, so I got that one from there, with the glue sticks. And I'm going to be using some sand. So I might be adding some colour to the sand with some paint, but I'll see how we get on just yet. But yeah, let's get going. So I'm going to be making a themed decor for my Egyptian Predatory Beetles. And I'm going to start with one piece, a larger piece of polystyrene that I've got, and I'm going to cut out. Can you hear that? That are cats fighting outside. I'm going to cut out the shape that I want to use. Now see if you can guess what I'm making as we go along. And the piece that I've just cut, I'm going to cut another square out of the centre, and that will make the inside of the hide because I'm going to build on this. Once you've cut both front and back, once you've done the front, you'll be able to see through the back where you've made the incisions, and then you can press it out. You press the middle out, it makes a hell of a mess. So you will need a brush to clean up with. But there's the base for my hide. This piece can be kept for later. Then I'm going to measure out the next part of the hide, and if I lay this piece on top, I can pretty much see where I can stick it down underneath with a little overlay, and cut it in the right place for where I want my next layer to go. There's my next piece. Fits nicely, one on top of the other. And I'm now going to cut out the centre like I did the one previously, and repeat the steps until it builds the shape that I need. And once I've got a few layers going, you might be able to guess what it's going to be. Let's keep going. Once you get to the top, you might not need to cut a middle out of it anymore because you'll have enough height inside of here. So my next piece is, once I've got them down to the size that I need, I could just pop it back on top and make sure the next layer is ready to be put in place. My hide is just about ready to be stuck together now. This stuff could also be sanded, so where I've got really rough edges at the moment, if you want them a bit tidier, you can use a bit of sandpaper and makes an awful noise. But that makes the edge a little smoother than it does with the bubbliness. So yeah, you can smooth the edges out using sandpaper if you need to, but I'm not too fussed about it. I'm not actually going to be using this exact one. It's a much larger scale than what I want to use it for, but I'm making this one to show you how it's done, and then I'll show you the ones I've made previously and the one that I'm going to be using for my enclosure. And now it's glue gun time. And there we have a pyramid for my Egyptian Predatory Beetle. This would be a hide, but like I said, this is one that I made to show you. Not the one I'm going to be using. I do have other ones already made. This is more like the one that I would like to make, and this is my first attempt. I tried it with sand, if you can see, on by itself first of all, and then sand and paint mixed together, which makes the colour stand out a bit more, and it's still got that texture on it, and it makes it dead solid. And I had already cut out the front of this one, but I'm liking the thinner version, so I'm going to go with this one. Need to cut an entrance to the hide in it first. I'm going to use my smaller knives for this because they're sharper. So now I've got a sandy colour and a white coloured paint to mix together with some sand, so that I can build up some texture and get the colour I'd like to achieve to make it look quite realistic. Pop the sand in there. I'm literally just going to paint it all over. So there's two different hides made, different shapes and sizes slightly, so you can pretty much do anything you want with them. Like I showed you, with the different layers, with it being hollow on the inside, you can make circular ones, any shape you like. You can carve it the way you like, and it'll leave it with the inside free. You can carve that out as well, like I did, just to make it a little more space inside. So I've got two there. I'm going to be using this one. I'm going to set it to one side for it to dry, and now I'm going to be trying something a little bit different with some air drying clay, which you can get online, or this was from Hobbycraft. I got given this by a friend, and I'm going to try and make a water dish out of this, but I also want it to go along with the theme, so I'm going to try and make an open sarcophagus and use it as a water dish. It is air drying, so you don't have to bake it like some clays that you use. Leave it out for the amount of time it tells you on the instructions, and it'll go nice and solid. So let's have a go at that. So I've left these two pieces to dry overnight. This is the dish part with the hollowed out bit inside where you can fill with water, and this will be the lid with some markings on where I can paint on some details and make it look more realistic. And then once they are finished, this piece, even though it's a little bit wonky, it's going to be slightly buried into the sand of the enclosure, and this piece can lie slightly over the top so it looks like it's partially open and still has the space inside of there. So now is the fun part of painting these. So I've got a range of different coloured acrylic paints that might make up some cool colours to paint it with, and a range of brushes as well. And we're going to get going. Let's see what I can come up with. So now all my pieces are dry. What do you think how this one turned out? What do you think of that? Not too bad. It was a bit tricky, a bit fiddly, but yeah, it's alright. It'll do. So they're all dry now, all the pieces, and this one here as well. So the last thing I'm going to do is use an spray on enamel to hopefully make this hold water, and just to cover the paint as well, the surfaces of it, and make it waterproof in case it does get moisture on it at all. So I'm going to let that set, and once it's dried out a little bit, redo a couple of coats, and yeah, make sure it's been dried for a good few hours. I'll probably leave it a day or two just to make sure there's no fumes or anything like that, and none of it's still damp. And this will be only the first part of my creations video for this enclosure. So this is part one. There will be a background made, so make sure you look for that one when it comes up as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. After all the pieces are finished, I'm going to be putting them inside the enclosure for you all to see how it turns out with all my themed pieces in. So stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.